So this has been going around for the last handful of days, and it's an interesting story. Basically, Chanster from chat, but also Hobbit on our member and Twitch sub exclusive Discord, said, "Hey Luke, I have a very interesting video that just dropped about a famous YouTuber doing a social experiment and creating a fake Nintendo leak and seeing how the internet reacts. He explained what he did, how people reacted, and what he learned about the leaks industry, and how he thinks they can be solved. It's a very well-made video, and I think it could be perfect for a stream segment. I appreciate you, Luke. By the way, I'm your sub Chancer from chat." Hell yeah, Chanster, thank you. Thank you for the recommendation. The video is from BeatEmUps, and it's just simply labeled, "I faked a Nintendo leak and to investigate how rumors spread online." And this is not the first time people have done this sort of thing. There's been a couple of other instances where people have tried it. And I know that there's actually been companies that have tried this too. I've talked about this on stream before, but there was one thing that happened where like there were leaks at a large gaming publisher. I won't say which one because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to know this, but there were leaks that were regularly happening at a very large gaming publisher development house, and they wanted to figure out where the leaks were coming from. So they started to use some tricky tactics to try and track it down. And it's similar to what Elon did, where Elon was trying to find leakers within Tesla. What they did is that they would go and they would have a paragraph of the leak basically, and then they would go and we sent what appeared to be identical emails to everybody, but each one was coded with either 1 or 2 spaces between sentences, forming a binary signature that identified the leaker. Because what they would do is the leaker would copy and paste the text like this into an email to a journalist or something, and then they'd be able to track who did it based on, okay, well then the journalist copy and pasted it into their article. We can see that these 2 spaces are here, these 2 spaces are here. And so literally because the people were just lazy and copy and pasting instead of retyping it, they were able to track down who the leaker was. And this company was doing something similar as well, where they were trying to track down where the leaks were coming from. I don't know if they were using spaces or if they were using like actual physical different words, but what I was told was that they were using uniquely structured like emails, and I think it was like Slack messages or something, and they were able to identify the leaker that way. And so these types of things to track down leakers, figure out who's doing it, are very common, because especially some leaks happen pretty high up within the company, which is always surprising. Like I think they've said that they expect there's some leakers pretty high up within like EA, within BGS. They have a lot of stuff leak, like entire scripts and everything. Ubisoft has had some high up leaks as well. So they definitely are working hard to try and figure this out. They spend millions on security for a reason. But in this case, he is intentionally leaking something about Nintendo and seeing how the internet reacts. We'll see. I hope he's doing it. We'll see what his methodology was. But if he's like leaking it as himself, that's going to be weird. Hopefully he's just like making a post online. I don't know. We'll see.
I can't tell you how I know. Do with this information what you will. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct next month. It's going to tease a card, Animal Crossing, coming out in 2026.
People are going to lose their minds, 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 lose their minds.
This Nintendo Direct leak took
Oh, so he literally just said it on his YouTube channel? He just said that okay.
over the internet. It was shared across Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, all over the gaming news world. But here's the problem. I made it up. I made it up. I made it up.
Popular YouTuber of BeatEmUps on his podcast where he said this last month.
There's going to be a Nintendo Direct next month.
BeatEmUps believes a Direct will be in July.
Known for his channel BeatEmUps and also host of the Nintendo podcast,
said that he had an unidentified source that says there will be a Nintendo Direct.
I thought if he's going to do like a social experiment to study leaks and stuff, he would do like an anonymous post or something to like a subreddit or something like that. When you have been a content creator for years and years and years, and you've built up a reputation as being reliable, and you know, you don't typically cover leaks, so if you're going to leak something, that's a big deal. That carries weight. So I guess I'm just confused what the methodology is, or what the thought process is behind the methodology. If he's just blasting it out to, you know, 1.9, I think it was, 1.9 million subscribers. You know, now I just think he's a liar. Well, There was that one thing, I wonder if I can find it. This is one thing where Grok is really helpful, specifically at finding obscure tweets from like a year and a half ago that are very specific. But basically there was a guy that sent a fake leak anonymously to a YouTuber who had been accused of like, not just like rage baiting, but also running with anything. Like somebody says anything and he believes it hook, line, and sinker, doesn't vet any information at all. And so this guy sent this YouTuber a fake made up leak saying, this is what's happening. I think it was a delay for AC Shadows. And he immediately, like within hours, had made a video on it describing how this was happening. And I have an anonymous source that I think is reliable that says that this is happening and everything. And it proved the point that some of these guys will run with any nonsense out of nowhere just because it fits with their narrative or it fits with the type of content they want to make, bashing Ubisoft or bashing Nintendo or whatever else it may be. I'm trying to pull it up. It's searching for it. Please hold. But something like that methodology, I think, makes more sense. If you're trying to showcase how people will run with anything, do it anonymously and see how many people run with it anonymously without any real credibility. The thing is, if you have a reputation like that, that is something that you have to factor into the equation as to why people are believing it, right? Like why they're running with it. It's a component, I think. Bro's just standing there. Yeah, Todd likes to watch us. He likes to keep an eye on us. I think it found it. Okay. McDizzle Gaming, who later deleted their original confession after receiving a cease and desist letter. Did Smash send a cease and desist? Really? Okay, that's funny. Okay, so it was posted by Smash JT. It reads, exclusive Ubisoft Insider Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed again, is what he said. It included the thumbnail image showing Yasuke's face with overlaid text reading exclusive AC Shadows delayed again, May 2025. The tweet revealing the leaker was fake through an email, was posted by Smash JT February 15th. It reads, troll makes elaborate hoax, fakes email, and steals identity of Ubisoft dev, goes to great lengths to fool and accomplishes the mission, and then publicly claims he was the leaker. Make it make sense. Basically, they don't have the... Oh, because the tweets were deleted. That's why, because he received a cease and desist. But basically, this guy baited this YouTuber into making a video by claiming that he was this Ubisoft employee. The YouTuber in question didn't verify the claim, didn't verify the identity of the guy, just ran with it, made a big video, kind of ended up looking a little stupid, and it revealed that some of these YouTubers were willing to run with anything, even if there was no verifying information, and it was literally just a claim in an anonymous email, which is a little bit funny. Because at the time, there were lots of claims that some of these YouTubers were making up their own information, or, you know, they were claiming stuff that just ended up flatly being false, you know, that they were just running with because it would get clicks. And they just said, oh, I got an anonymous email that said this. And so revealing it and trolling them in that way demonstrated that maybe these people you shouldn't rely on too much, because they are willing to run with literally anything so long as it fits the narrative they want to push. In this case, though, like, that methodology makes sense. It's anonymous. It shows how lacking in investigative rigor they are. But in this case, it seems like he just literally is posting a video claiming something based on his reputation. And then I guess the point is, see, they believed me. They're stupid. Like, I'm missing a piece of it.
We love, and I've always been curious, how do fake leaks get so much traction? Like, how does something so clearly fake go viral? We live in a culture of constant Nintendo Direct rumors, manufactured excitement, and clickbait YouTube titles. Hey, so I had a thought. What if I leaked huge gaming news? If I followed the spread of that leak, attract its momentum, and then the ripple effects, could I conduct an experiment to find a way to stop fake leaks once and for all? But there was one problem. I am not an industry insider. I don't have any leaks.
Okay, so if the goal is, as he stated, if the goal is to find a way to fix the problem of people just running with fake leaks and identify how to prevent this from happening in the future. I think, honestly, even though that guy ended up apologizing for trolling this guy into making a video that was wrong, I think something like that actually does a decent job, because what it does is it makes everybody pause and go, I don't want to be made fun of for making a video on a fake leak. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait until I have 2 or 3 connected sources that I can verify. Like, dude, I'll tell you what, I've been sent some stuff that would blow your mind. Half of it, probably way more than half of it, honestly, totally fake. It's just literally some kid typing to see if he can get a YouTuber to make a video on something that he thinks might happen. Other times, it's information I find out about. I'm like, okay, but I don't know if I can believe this person. So it just goes into a folder in my email and I kind of forget about it. And then 2 years after the fact, I see something, I'm like, oh shoot, they were right. But by that point, it's too late. But the point is, because I don't have verifying information, I can't do anything with it. And there are some instances where like they will send me, like, I guess I should clarify, what does verifying information mean? I think verifying information would be like if they can share something that nobody outside the dev team or nobody outside of a real source would have, like sending a picture of them holding their employee ID card with another like piece of paper written on it, emailed to Luke or something like that, which is very specific that they couldn't just come up with. That is a convincing something or other. I've had people send me information about games, and they'll also send me pictures of their desk where they have like, you know, all of their awards and things from, like, one guy that I was talking to like literally had one of those, I don't think it was the Game Awards, it was like back in the day with Spike TV or something. It was like one of those little trophies. And you know, you do reverse image searches, you make sure it didn't come from anywhere else, and you check all of that. But even then, 99% of the time, I won't run with that stuff because it is just hearsay. It's just a person is telling me something, and that's not a lot of good reason to believe anything. It's just a guy told me this. Like, it's just not. So you always have to take it with a grain of salt. So I'm a personal believer. I think that public shaming and mockery is a great way to prevent this by just making it clear, hey, if you run with a fake leak and we can prove that it's fake, we get to make fun of you. I think that works pretty well, personally. I don't know if you need to do an elaborate thing like this. You need to see the metadata includes location, also to verify the pic. Well, and typically it's also like, my policy is I won't do anything like that unless I have like 2 separate sources that I can independently verify that are saying the same thing. At that point, I think you're good. Like, look at how Jason Schreier does it, which is why Jason Schreier has the reputation that he does. It's because he will be like, hey, I'm going to do a breakdown of what happened with Dragon Age the Veilguard. I have 15 sources of people that I hopped on the phone with who I might have met at industry events and gotten their personal like phone number or email address. Like, he's verified those sources. He knows they're real, and he has like a dozen of them. And then he writes a piece on it. He's not running with, I saw on 4chan an anonymous post claiming that. Like, he's not doing that, which is why people tend to look at him more trustingly, I guess. It's not that elaborate. He just lied and pretty much eyeballed it from there. Really?
I am just a YouTuber. So, you know, in a way, I kind of had to lie. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct next month in July. Metaphor. We're going to get GameCube
I
Shadow
heard it
drops.
was Pokemon
Death
Coliseum
Stranding
was one.
Director's Cut S.
Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Metroid's
I
release
heard
date.
Isabel's going to show up, and it's going to tease a card Animal Crossing coming out in 2026.
Sorry.
I'm not hooked up to Nintendo stuff. I mean, it is not my world. I don't cover Nintendo stuff really at all. So I guess I just missed this. But even I'm hearing this, and I'm like, what? This seems kind of insane.
About that. I actually am very, very sorry about that. I didn't really think of this through at all. I'll be completely honest. I'll go off script and let you know right now that I regret doing this whole thing. I am proud of how this video has turned out and what I learned, but I kind of wish I didn't do it because I did not expect the reaction that I got, and I feel incredibly guilty, and I am very sorry.
I feel like for something like this, you have to be so on it when it comes to methodology, if you want to prove any sort of point. Otherwise, it just seems like you're trolling everybody for like clicks to be like, yeah, see, I tricked you. So yeah, people believed you because they believe you. You know, people trusted you, and now they won't. Like,
But I did it, so let's talk about it.
I can't tell you how I know. Do with this information what you will.
I worded what I said on the podcast very carefully. I didn't say where my information came from. I didn't even say how I knew. I said quite literally, I can't tell you how I know. And I said that on purpose for two reasons. One, I wanted people's imaginations to run wild. I wanted to know how the media would interpret that if it did go viral. And two, I was lying. So,
I don't know how much of that is true. That's everything I heard. And I never get information.
and I know what some people are gonna say. Some people are gonna say, oh, sure, now it's some big social experiment. Now you're trying to help stop leaks. You know, all of a sudden, you know, if I was smart, I would have immediately after the podcast pre-recorded something saying like, oh, this is my intention, you know, so that now when making this video, I could show that clip to prove that that actually was what I was planning on doing the whole time. But, you know, too bad I didn't do.
I just did an episode of my podcast, and on that podcast, I told everybody that I knew about a Nintendo Direct that's coming next month in July. I was lying.
You were lying?
I was lying. Yeah. I just wanted to see if I gave a bunch of crazy leaks, like I had information and I buried it within a podcast, if anybody online would pick it up.
see, I believe that that's where this started from, and then it's been like figuring out how to make it into something that's actually useful. So I believe that, yeah, he didn't, like, he was lying about it. I agree. Like he was intentionally testing the waters and seeing what people do with it. But I think this could have been way more effectively done to have like an actual impact.
Like if anybody tweets about it, if any articles are made,
headlines.
you know, YouTuber BeatEmUps 2 million subs leaks or says he has insider info. Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 edition is coming soon.
Also,
Animal
Horizon,
Crossing
yeah.
reveal on the.
See, I think there's two sides of this where I think you can actually perhaps take some key information away from it. For one, if there's an outlet that runs with this and says The Witcher 4 coming to Switch 2 based on what he says, or like, you know, the Nintendo Direct is happening next week, and they just run with that, that's a problem within the headlines. But almost all of the ones that he showed in this first like 2 minutes were clips of people saying YouTuber BeatEmUps says this, which is factually true. I mean, that is I don't blame them. I don't think they did anything wrong by reacting to what a big YouTuber claimed was true in a podcast. Like, shame on them for believing you and trusting you. You know, like, if somebody takes it and runs with it, ignoring the source, then that's a separate issue. And then you can talk about the outlet being, you know, willing to just run with something that's not super credible. But if the outlet is saying, hey, this is coming from a YouTuber, this is what he said, take it with a grain of salt, they're just reporting on what happened. I don't think anything's wrong there. Like, not everyone believed him. They just repeated what he said. Yeah, like, I don't see anything at that point. I think I don't think they did anything wrong. If they are taking it and then they just say, and I also heard from my source that this is true, then obviously they're lying too, because this was made up. So then you could take something from it. But like, is that really that helpful?
Horizon.
I think we're gonna get it.
If I can data mine any of the info to stop leaks in the future, I'm going to then release this so you know that I didn't know and that I was just making it up.
I'm sorry for the lie itself. I really am. Specifically to the people that listen to my podcast, who I feel the most guilt for. But if you'll stick with me, I actually did learn a lot about how leaks spread, why people believe leaks, and more importantly, I actually think I've come up with some answers on how we can stop the spread of leaks, specifically fake leaks and misinformation moving forward.
Again, like I'm interested to hear his thought. So the spread and talking about where everybody is running through it. Psychology, what can we do? What can we do? I mean, I'm not even sure we need to go through this stuff with like, because it did spread. I'm interested in what his conclusion is. But again, like I think the main takeaway is that you just like you make fun of and point out when people run with fake leaks that should have been pretty easily verified as false or unjustified leaks and coverage and stuff. You make fun of them if they're doing that, but I don't think anything's wrong with talking about a massive YouTuber that until 5 days ago had a really strong and sturdy reputation for not spreading false stuff. And I don't think anybody did anything wrong by running with that and saying, hey, this is what he's saying, you know? I don't think they did anything wrong. But let's see his solution, because I don't want to just go through the whole video completely. It'll take 3 hours. But let's see what his solution is to all of this.
So it's not like we can beg the people that post leaks, fake or otherwise, to pretty please just stop doing it. I mean, that's never gonna happen. Well, I already mentioned that you could try to verify the source, especially when that source is so publicly available, but that's not always possible. And it also doesn't always mean that you're gonna get a reply as soon as you wanna make a video. So instead, in the same vein, let's take a look at how my leak was described online. In fact, throughout this video, I've actually been intentionally referring to what I did as a leak. In fact, I think I've said the word leak at least 50 times so far, and none of you probably even batted an eye, because that's what I did, right? I leaked something. Except I didn't.
I can't tell you how I know. Do with this information what you will.
How do you know?
I can't tell you. I just said I can't tell you how I know. I don't know how much of that is true, and I never get information. I'm skeptical. Don't take my word for it.
I didn't leak it.
Yeah, but again, like when you have a big platform and years of building a reputation, that will run with it, you know? And that I think is in and of itself a piece of credibility, because people are assuming that if it's total nonsense, you wouldn't have said it in the first place, you know? Like if I get an email, I'm like, hey, look at this fake leak I got. This guy claims that his dad is working on Fallout 7 right now, and he thinks this and this and it's going to happen. And it's going to be a Halo crossover and blah, blah, blah. That's one thing. If you're like, hey, check out this fake thing I've got. I'm 99.9% sure it's fake. That's one thing. But if you're saying, I have a source, can't tell you about the source, but this is what he said. Don't take my word for it. It's the anonymous source, but this is everything that's happening. I never get leaks, but you know, I'm still running with this, which should tell you that it's probably, you know, believable. That's a whole other thing. There's a difference between a leak and a rumor. That's the key, though, and I think that's what he's trying to distinguish between. That he's phrasing it as a leak. Effectively, you know, maybe you say leaks have to have a verified source, and then it's like it becomes a leak. It gets upgraded from rumor to leak. But when the source is like somebody with a good reputation that is saying, trust me, bro, effectively, and trust me that the source is valid, that's a separate issue. And I know he could say, well, but I never said the source was verified, and I never said the source was trustworthy. I get that. But I think the big component of this that's not being accounted for in this equation that's been built out is, again, having a 2 million sub YouTube channel and having not done a lot of leak discussions, not being a leaker yourself. The fact that you are going out on a limb talking about this and spreading this, even though you're not saying the leak is legitimate or the info is legitimate, that brings with it inherent credibility, you know? Like that brings with it something that I don't think he realized when he started this.
Anything.
You should fake a leak too, would be very funny. I would do it differently. Like if I was trying to call out fake leaks and stuff and people running with nonsense, I would not post it myself, because I think if Luke Stevens posts on his main channel, I have an exclusive breaking news story. I don't even know what it would be. I don't even know what I would do. The next Assassin's Creed game is set on the moon. And I put that out there. Like that will bring with it its own thing, you know? FPS Nugget, thank you for the 5. YouTuber Luke Stevens confirmed Fallout 7 to take place on Halo Ring and Star Master Chief. He confirmed it, dude. Exactly. I think that's a component. Like, you have to acknowledge is that the person spreading the rumor brings a certain level of credibility or lack thereof. If it's from a well-known guy that makes up tons of stuff, you're not going to take it very seriously. But if it's from a big YouTube channel or a big streamer or something that has a good reputation for not spreading nonsense, that in and of itself is like credibility boosting for the source, even if the source isn't known.
MNC Llama donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
The most interesting part of it, Emo, is that the leak hit Reddit and people made fake-looking docs with his list, and it took about 2 days for him to stop being credited, and it just had a life of its own and fake email docs.
Yeah, and see, that is legitimately hilarious. And so this, I think, is a snippet. I think this is a snippet of what you're talking about. Thank you for the 20. Because earlier in the video, when he's going through the spreading, this is where it like separates from him.
From BeatEmUps over on the Nintendo podcast.
Oh God, what have I done?
It's interesting that he said this because he has apparently an insider information.
I never said that.
On the Nintendo podcast. So
Well, he said apparently has insider information. If you're spreading a leak, it's sort of implied that you have information from somebody on the inside. And he said apparently he has insider information. I understand you never said I have insider information, but it's heavily, heavily, heavily suggested if you are claiming to have information from the inside that you have insider information. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess we could be nitpicky.
said that he had an unidentified source.
I did not say that.
Wood said that he had a source.
No, I didn't.
Well, you said I can't tell you where the information is coming from, but you're saying stuff. I don't know, man. I feel like this just wasn't thought through before. As he said, I don't think this was thought through before he started. And so it's like, yeah, you never said explicitly, I have an inside source, but you provided information suggesting that this was like happening and people were taking it. And the clear inference from that is that you got the information about insider events and happenings from somebody that is aware of that, which is literally what's termed as like an insider. And so I understand, like, you didn't say it word for word, but it's what's built into the claim and the assertion of it. Just gives me a headache. It gives me a headache, this whole thing. You know, forgot about the implication. Well, there's certain things that are going to be, whenever you say anything, like, you just have to be aware that there's going to be what is said word for word, but people do not watch YouTube videos or podcasts or streams or clips or anything as if they are in a courtroom arguing in front of the Supreme Court where every word has to be super precise. That's just not how human beings are. So even though you did not say, I have an inside source, you said, I can't tell you the source. I don't know the source. I don't know. I can't say where this information came from. Even though you said that stuff and you didn't claim anything specific, there are heavy implications, which I think are reasonable for someone to go with, especially, again, when the source of all of this, which is the YouTuber in question, BeatEmUps, when they have a big channel and a good reputation, that in and of itself builds in a certain amount of credibility, which, you know, is why I think this would have been more interesting if it came from an anonymous source posted on like a subreddit or 4chan or something like that. That's more compelling, I think, than like a massive YouTube channel doing it. You know,
why?
I can't tell you the source implies there is a source. Well, and I mean, nobody is going to think that you would just make this up. So, like, I don't think it's fair to be like, well, but I did make it up. But they thought I had a source. Well, yeah, nobody thought you would just lie. No, and I think that's reasonable for someone to conclude if you're making a video that you're not just making it up. Nobody thought that this was like some big social experiment. They would have no reason to think it would be.
He says he can't spill how he knows, but he's confident.
I said I wasn't confident.
Yeah, that is legitimately fair. He said he was not confident. Yeah, that's a fair one.
I'm skeptical. Don't take my word for it.
Apparently Nintendo is going to have a big Nintendo Direct in July.
Okay, that I did say. I did say that.
And his podcast partner was like, oh yeah, he believed it as well. So, and then we'll break it.
I want to stress this. Bingle is not part of this. Please don't rope him in like he was part of the lie. He had no idea. This is all me. He had no idea. That man is not going down with me for this. In 2026.
People are gonna lose their minds.
Boom! AC that early.
If he's wrong, I will beat him up. Honestly, you get one free punch.
We have our first Nintendo Direct rumor for the month of July, which...
Oh, this one's sad. This one's sad. Crossing channel. Oh, it's all about Animal Crossing. Oh, it's so wholesome, and they just got so excited that I said Animal Crossing.
Suggests we will...
Nintendo, please announce Animal Crossing next month.
But this one might have a little bit more credibility than...
For crying out loud.
Yeah, it has credibility because you have a massive channel and a reputation. Like that, it is part of it.
What we've seen in...
I don't even want to hit play. I can't even, I'm not even looking. He's not even on camera and I can't look.
Another Nintendo YouTuber, one that I actually follow. They've made a lot of really interesting content.
Dude, this would make me feel so freaking bad if I try. I totally get what he's feeling. I can only imagine. It is so wholesome. And he's like, and I'm a fan of him too. And you're just like, oh.
And I honestly can't see why they would lie about this at all. They have nearly 2 million
Exactly. I don't think it's reasonable for someone to look at what was said on the podcast and go, he's really cagey. I think he's making all of this up as a social experiment. I don't think it's reasonable to do that. I think given all of the information at the time, it is reasonable rather to conclude that this is a big channel that doesn't typically talk about leaks, and he's going out on a limb claiming these things, saying, I can't tell you the source, I can't tell you any of that stuff, implying there is a source. And so, you know, it's probably worth discussing. He wouldn't just lie. Yeah, this was a pretty bad idea. I think it started as, I just want to see what happens. And I really think that was like the extent of the thought that went into it. And he kind of alluded to that. He's like, I really didn't think this through too much. And you can see it here is I think that this just got way out in front of him. I think if you're going to fake leaks or something, especially as like a big channel with a reputation to uphold, there's got to be like a broader strategy. Yeah, I feel like going out swinging like this was not well planned.
Subscribers, they really have no need to get the clout or whatever like a lot of leakers do, and they suggest that we will be seeing a direct in July.
Crossing channel, I love you. I am so sorry.
Hello guys, today about the
The cough into the microphone is classic. I remember starting on YouTube and thinking I had to do everything in a single take for some reason. So I'd go for like a 7-8 minute video and trying to talk all the way through. And it's like, you can cut that out, you know? You can cut that out, you realize?
You can do a second take. Okay. Oh. I've been looking at all of this for an hour. I can't do it anymore. But this had gone so viral. People were tweeting about the leak and not even mentioning me. 200,000 views and 4,000 likes.
Yeah, see, this is a problem. I would absolutely agree. It's somebody on X, shocker, just saying, new Nintendo Direct rumor has surfaced detailing a July Direct that includes the return of Pokemon Coliseum and more. Witcher 3 Switch 2 edition, Metroid Prime 4, Animal Crossing 2026 teaser, and they just run with this. And this is very common on X. They'll link the source sometimes underneath in a pinned comment, or I guess not pinned comment, but in a comment, reply, whatever. This is a very big thing that happens all over X, and I'm sure Threads and Blue Sky and everywhere else that's in the same format. I don't really know what else to say about it, then it's a problem, but it's not a problem just with these leaks. It's a problem more broadly just in social media, that they'll just say something and send it out there. And I don't think there's really anything that can be done about it, you know, per se, but it shows the dangers of just asserting random stuff is that people will believe it.
Now, okay, the source is linked in the description,
yeah, okay.
But that only has 10,000 views, which means most people didn't see that. And
yeah, the vast majority of people are just scrolling past. Yeah, to be fair, I would guess 100,000 of those 200,000 views probably didn't even read the text on it. They just scrolled past it. So, you know, never believe the X view count number. It's a little deceiving. It's the same thing with like TikTok and YouTube short view counts. It's like, there's a reason. We jokingly call it monopoly views. It's like monopoly money. It's like, yeah, 100,000 views on X is worth maybe like 500 on YouTube. It's not the same thing.
And 4,000 likes. Now, okay, the source is linked in the description, but that only has 10,000 views, which means most people didn't see that. And that's when I realized I wasn't even needed anymore. Another one here, one from OB Plays. Again, just sharing like the rumor itself and not the source. At this point, today and yesterday has turned into just, here are the rumors, here are the leaks, here's what.
Yeah, it certainly devolves. Absolutely.
Avery V donated $50 through Super
Booyah!
Chat. Hi.
Gee whiz, Avery. Thank you. My goodness. Thank you. That's ridiculously generous. Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. You get one of these. You ready? Ready? What's up? Thanks. Just for you, baby. Just for you. Just a little, hey, what's up? How you doing? There you go. Thank you for the 50. That's wonderful. But yeah, this, I mean, I feel like we didn't need to do a whole social experiment for this. I mean, we know people run with rumors all the time. Like this is pretty well known, I feel.
What's happening with no accreditation to whoever it is that's leaking it.
Yeah, but this is why ultimately the people posting the information have, I think, a fiduciary duty to check the source themselves. That's true of the people in question here, Obi Plays, the Game Post, all these people that are listed on X. They have a fiduciary duty to their followers and people listening to them to check the source. Just like the person that makes the initial claim has a duty to check with their source and verify it. Like everybody all the way down the chain has responsibility to check the sources and to not spread information they think is false. But that again is why this whole experiment, I think, is kind of moot, because it largely ignores the fact that by being a massive channel and having a good reputation, that brings with it credibility, because nobody is going to think he's just lying about this for an experiment. Nobody is going to think that. And so of course they're going to run with it and believe that it's more believable, like I think that that's a component of this equation that was just not thought about before it started. And so I think the whole experiment is kind of, you can kind of discard it, because it ignored the reality that by being a massive channel, people will just naturally conclude that you used your platform and all of that. You have the duty to your audience to not spread nonsense. And so you checked with the source, and you wouldn't be saying it if it was just totally made up,
So now the leak has a life of its own. Now it's just escalating. At first, when I started this experiment, I was worried. I thought, oh, I've tainted this. How did I not realize that of course my leak was going to go viral, because it's me. This isn't some random anonymous person leaking something on 4chan somewhere. This is Wood from BeatEmUps leaking it on his podcast.
Yep.
Of course people were gonna believe me. I'm the Nintendo guy.
Yeah.
I thought me being the one to leak it would ruin the
I'm glad we went back into the video. I'm glad we watched this. Thank you to whoever said we needed to do that. Thank you.
experiment in that way. But it was at this point, when I was seeing tweets being spread around not even mentioning me, that I realized the leak at this point is spreading without me anyway.
But I think that there's a leap here. It's spreading without you now because it started with you. If this were like randomly posted on 4chan, I don't think anyone would have started with this. I don't think you would have had any of the videos made. I don't think any of this would have started if it were just an anonymous post on 4chan. It snowballed to the point where now they're running without you because it had built to the point where it was a snowball. But it wouldn't have even gotten there if it hadn't started with you on your big platform,
That meant that the
yeah, you were the prime mover.
variable of me was removed.
Yes.
And that
but being removed means that you were there initially.
is where this experiment
can finally begin.
No. The experiment is, I think, invalidated because the foundation of it was ruined and rotten. You know, I don't think you can build the house that is the experiment upon this sandy foundation. Like, I think because of the fact that it started with you, nothing else can follow from it. It's like the fruit of the poison tree, where you know, if you start with a faulty assumption or premise, everything else that follows is therefore, like, you can't work with it. It's nonsense. If I'm like starting an argument over what is the best video game of all time, and I'm like, okay, at the start of my argument, I will assert as an axiom that The Witcher 3 is the best game ever made. Now, let's discuss what's the best game. It's like, okay, well, we started on something that I don't think you can start on, so now everything that follows doesn't hold true, you know? Yeah, the fruit of the poison or poisonous tree, yeah. Or poison vine, I think. In legalese, it's a legal thing where, like, if the cops search your house, at least in the States, this is how it works. If the cops search your house, but they didn't have a warrant or didn't have reasonable cause or whatever, or if they're like interrogating you and you ask for a lawyer and they ignore that and still get you to confess something, because you had invoked a lawyer, everything that follows from that cannot be used in court because they were not allowed to continue that pursuit. So even if you confess to the crime, they found the body of the person you killed because of your confession, because you asked for a lawyer and they were not allowed to keep going at that point, the body being found, all of that information can be deemed inadmissible in court because the premise, the starting point was rotten, so nothing else can follow. I just fundamentally disagree that this is where the experiment starts. I think because of how you started it, the whole thing is kind of tossed out, you know? Because I don't think you would have gotten to the point where it even spread at all without you unless it started with you. So I'd like to see this experiment repeated, but with an anonymous source posted on 4chan or something. Then I think that's more interesting and compelling. Like the fact people believed you because you're a big YouTuber, I don't think we can do much with that. But let's see, continuing on, how he recommends fixing it.
A rumor. A leak is something much more tangible, more real. Like, you remember when the photos of the Switch 2 shell and design and motherboard and everything got posted online from the factory? That's a leak. Or like,
yeah, because it's a verified, I think, source, and it's the fact that they have manufactured items and people who know what they're doing can verify, yeah, this is an actual PCB, this is actual, like, the molding would be $100,000 to mold all of this plastic specifically for this leak. Like, if it's fake, it's a ridiculously expensive one. It's more reasonable to believe that it's true, you know.
When footage of The Last of Us 2 gameplay was circulating online well before the game released, that's a leak.
Yeah, because you can verify it. Yeah. Yeah, if it's not verifiable, you know, or if you don't have really, really good reason to believe that it's real, then I think it's a potential leak. You know, there was, for example, there were leaks back in the day. Now we know they were leaks, but there were leaks back in the day. I want to say maybe 2016, maybe. Yeah, these for like Starfield. These pictures came out back in like 2016, 17 or something. Let me see. Is this the original article? No, this is 2020, so maybe even later. But 2020, you can see this artwork that was revealed online. This, which of course now we know is real, actual snippets from Starfield. They have the logo, which hadn't been revealed yet, the unique UI elements, the ships, everything. This was an actual in-game, you know, in development leak. But in this case, you can see the alleged leaked images show a ship in pretty convincing in-game screenshot because, again, it would be really, really, really high effort for somebody to fake this. It passes the gut check, certainly. It looks like the creation engine. And now we know it's real. But even back then, they were calling it an alleged leak, which is, I think, what a responsible reporting outlet would do. So, yeah, I agree there's a difference between leaks and rumors.
What I did, it was a rumor. And if you think I'm just splitting hairs here, I'm not. I really do feel like definition is important here, and I think all of the news journalism articles felt the same way, because all of the articles and even the Reddit thread, and even when Stealth covered the Reddit thread, they all used the word rumor. But every single YouTuber said it was a leak. And I want to be clear, I'm not blaming anyone, because before this experiment, I would have 100% done the same thing, because I didn't really understand the difference in the definition. I never really thought about it like that. But that's where fake rumors become fake leaks, and you accidentally end up misleading the public. I'm really not trying to call anybody out here, because again, would have done the same thing. But I do think this is a key moment here, and it's even reflected.
But again, it's I'm just getting frustrated at this point. I don't know if I can do much more. It's funny, apology tour. It's got an entire segment on it. I don't think you can do much of anything with this, because again, the reason that they elevated it in their minds from rumor to leak is because of your reputation, channel size, all of that. So yeah, if it were posted on 4chan, I think they would have said, yeah, anonymous rumor suggests we could get this. But because of who you are and your platform and everything, people naturally elevated it up. I think that's what happened. So unfortunately, like, I don't really know what else to say. It's just, I feel like this whole thing was built on such a broken foundation that you can't really conclude anything from it. Like, because it does not, like, I think his fundamental misunderstanding, like up here, as he says, is that it was spreading because of him. It started because of his channel. That's the only reason people were talking about it. But then eventually it started spreading without him. That's true. But it wouldn't have gotten to that point unless he was the one that started it. So if he restarted this whole experiment with an anonymous leak and was able to demonstrate the same thing happening, people claiming anonymous 4chan post claims, you know, a crazy new leak for a July showcase. That's one thing. I think you can conclude much more from that. But in this case, I think the whole experiment is kind of a moot point because it just was set up on some a faulty assumption that it's the same thing. Yeah, the weirdest thing is that somehow I avoided all of this. Yeah. Builds a reputation for being reliable, used it to spread a rumor. I can't believe they trusted me. Well, exactly. Definitely should have ended with, but having said all that, I did hear a rumor that there's a direct coming in August. That would have been funny. The leak versus rumor distinction is such a valid observation. The word leak is way overused. I can agree with that. Don't take my word for it, internet. I'm feeling very trusting today. Again, you can say that. It's a common turn of phrase, unfortunately. But when you have 2 million subs, again, people will assume that. And you can say, well, they shouldn't assume. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. I get it. I understand that. But like, are you really going to say shame on you for believing me after watching my videos for years? Like, it's just natural that people are going to do that. So yeah, I think it maybe could have been a really fun experiment. Like I pointed out earlier with that whole thing that the one guy did with the, like culture warring YouTuber, anti-woke YouTuber, getting him to report on an AC Shadows delay when it was just totally made up and showing that he wouldn't vet his sources. I think that is legitimately very funny and is a good way of showcasing and scaring YouTubers to be like, you should check your sources. Otherwise this could happen to you too. That I think is a more reasonable way of doing this, to demonstrate that you need to check sources and you shouldn't just run with something because somebody said it. But concluding anything from this experiment, I think is next to impossible, because it's just, again, I don't think it would have happened to begin with. His entire logic is so flawed. Well, I don't, and I think like he alluded to a few times, I don't think he jokingly said, half jokingly, I think said, I didn't think this through. I don't have a master plan for this. I just wanted to see what would happen. I think that's true. I don't think he actually did like have a grand scheme of how he wanted to do it. You want to know somebody that has like a master plan that enacts it? You saw the whole like Ethan Klein H3H3 thing where he set up all of those streamers to react to his content nuke on Hassan. And he registered his video with the Library of Congress beforehand and like kind of lured them into reacting to his video so that he could sue them for not being transformative. Like, That's a master plan. Love it or hate it, he went through those steps to set it up. He thought through what he wanted to do, and then he executed the plan. Whether you like that or not, like he had his plan and he went through it. I think in this case, I don't think there was any plan. I think it was just like, I'm going to say this on my podcast and see what happens. And like, that's literally the extent of it. You know, I think it could have gone, if there was more of a plan, it could have been interesting, but I don't think there was. And the fact that halfway through the video is the realization, wait, this is only spreading because of me. It's like, that should have been like number one. Like that should have been step one. You know, just anyway, interesting video. I do think that there is room for an experiment like this that could be really interesting, honestly, to kind of put something out there and see how it spreads. But I think you have to have a better methodology and you got to plan for it, understanding like how big of a role your channel and your reputation plays. Let's see a minute of silence for the Animal Crossing guy. Dude, I would feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for it. He was so excited. And then it's like, yeah, I lied to you. Sorry. It's just, oh, man. He took my thing.